Hi, Matt from Overland Travelers. In this video, I'm going to run through how to get the most out of your camera gear if you're traveling and touring, and maybe what you want to get if you're an amateur and you're just starting out, you want to sort of improve your photography and videography. So yeah, we're going to run through that. So you've probably been watching our videos, and a lot of people have asked us, what gear do you use? If you really want to sort of know what gear we use and sort of curious about that, we've done a whole video on that, so go check that out. We'll link it somewhere. As I said, in this video, I'm really just going to run through maybe how to get the most out of your gear. You might have been watching our videos or on our Instagram, you sort of think, geez, I'd love to, I'd love to travel, but I would also like to document that and, you know, get some really good quality videos, good quality photos, just to look back on, see the memories. I really think it's worth investing in more so your time in getting good photos and videos. After all said and done, all you've got to look back on is your photos and your memories, so it's definitely worth it. One of the most important questions to ask yourself when you're sort of thinking about getting camera gear and maybe you want to upgrade or get better photos is, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with the gear? So I think there's not much point in having all this gear if you don't present it in a way that's easy to digest for people. So what do I mean by that? If you're not going to sort of maybe print out some of your photos, have them highlight memory reel on your Facebook, or play them on Instagram for people to see, if you're just sort of going to keep them on a memory card and scroll it away in a computer somewhere, it's not really worth it. You really need to see these videos and these photos and have a good way to present them, whether that's printing them out in a book. So I think it's really worth thinking about what you're going to do with them. Are you going to edit these photos? Yes, I recommend editing photos to get the most out of it, to get the look you want. Are you going to put it together in a video? It might be really good family videos. And if you can present it in a way that's sort of easy to watch for your family and friends, then that's really good. So I think you just need to ask yourself, am I going to put the time and effort into getting the most out of these photos and videos by post-processing, editing, putting it together? Now you're probably thinking, all right, gear, I need sort of all these, awesome cameras. And, I get a lot of people, they see some of our photos and they go, wow, you must have some really good camera gear. And we do have good camera gear, but at the same time, it's like getting a really good meal from a chef and then just saying, wow, you must have a great oven. It's just not the case. You can get unbelievable photos with, the most basic cameras. Everyone in these days has an incredible camera in their pocket, their phones. I reckon for 90% of people, a phone is all you're ever going to need. It takes incredible video, incredible photos. I know there's YouTubers out there that are literally just shooting on their iPhone, and they're doing travel videos, they're doing everything. And it's amazing how quick and easy it is with a phone. You can do your editing, you can post it online, you can send it to friends, you can do everything so easily. So I definitely recommend maybe getting the most out of your phone. If you really do want to get into, photography and videography, and you want to get some decent gear, you're about to go on a trip and you think, geez, I would really love to document this properly, then you're going to be probably looking at a camera, a proper standalone camera, maybe something like this. This is a Sony A6400. It's a mirrorless crop sensor SLR. These are a great sort of mid-range camera, I would say. They're probably not quite entry level. Again, you got to ask yourself some questions with these cameras. Are you going to learn how to use it? Be honest with yourself. Are you actually going to learn how to use these cameras, how to change the settings? Because there's two reasons you get a camera like this. One, you take it off automatic and you play with some of the settings. You put it on manual, aperture priority, shutter priority, start playing around. That's one. So if you're not going to take it off auto, probably don't get it. Two is to change the lens. You can take the lens off, you can put a different lens on to get a different effect, different situations. You can put a zoom or you can put a prime on it. So again, if you're not going to change the lens, don't worry about it. Just get a really good point and shoot, or just use your phone. This here is not the kit lens. This is a 16 to 70 F4 Zeiss. A few numbers thrown around. What does that mean? 16 to 70 is the focal range. So 16 is very wide and 70 is a bit more zoomed in. You can get a massive range of lenses right from fisheye, which are like 14 or even lower, 10, 12. And then you got your super zooms, your 600 mils, which all you see all your wildlife photographers and bird photographers are walking around with, the big Canons. So that's your focal range. And then the F4, which is the aperture. These are ring blades inside the lens, which will open and close to let more or less light in. Learning about what these sort of settings do, and learning your aperture, learning ISO, learning shutter speed. That's all really important if you want to get the most out of a camera like this. I've already recommended if you're an amateur and you're starting out and you want to get something a bit better, I love the Sony cameras, probably a Sony A6400 with a decent lens. You can get a lot out of a kit lens these days, but I would highly recommend getting another lens straight away with it. I could recommend something like this, which is a 50mm 1.8. So it's a very fast lens, that's what people call them, because it can go down to 1.8. So it can open really wide in its aperture, you can let a lot of light in, good for low light situations, and it just gets a really pleasing photo of the eye. When you see those photos, beautiful blurred out backgrounds, you've really separated the subject from the foreground to the background, that would be taken on a prime lens. So a prime lens is something where the focal range is fixed. So you're at 50mm and that's it. If you want to zoom in, you got to walk towards your subject. If you want to zoom out, you got to walk away. But I think there's no better way to improve your photography than throwing a prime lens on your camera and just that's it. And just walking around and playing around with it. When I went to Asia years and years ago, I had my old Nikon D7000 and I had a 50mm 1.4, and that's pretty much the whole lens I used for the whole trip, and I just got some beautiful photos that trip. So I could definitely recommend getting one of these straight away if you get one of these cameras. So if you get something where you can change the lens, kit lens is fine. It's sort of great at everything, okay at everything, good at nothing. And then you can get a prime, which will really elevate your photography and really allow you to play around with it a bit more. So another thing which people comment on a lot on our travel videos, probably our most asked question, I would say, for gear, that's for sure, is what drone are you using? Because I think people see the footage and they think, wow, that's really good footage. Again, he must have a really good drone. It's not really the case. It is a good drone, but it's a couple of years old now. It's Mavic Pro, the original one, it's first gen stuff. This is getting pretty old now, about 3 years old. Amazing little drone. It's a little bit bigger than some of your small ones like your Mavic Airs and stuff, so I find it's really good in high wind. I can drive along, fly along besides the car with it. But yeah, people sort of ask me, how do you get such good shots with your drone? How do you do that? Well, a lot of people see these as probably almost as a toy. It's a flying machine. It's a flying toy with a camera on it. It's not that at all. First and foremost, this is a camera. So I see it as a camera that I can get to some really cool places and fly around with. The way I treat this is like, I imagine it like a camera crane or a dolly track or something. You see in the movies and the cameras, on that big crane moving around, and they're just doing one big continuous shot. So when you're shooting with this, don't fly it erratically, don't fly it all over the shot, just have very nice, smooth flying. And when you're editing it, you want the video to start at your shot, and you want one smooth motion, and then when that shot sort of moves or something, or twists around, that's when you want to cut it. So that way, when people are watching it back, you get nauseous if it's just flying all over the shot and going crazy. So just fly it very smooth, continuous shots, and you'll get a lot more out of it. That being said, a lot of people have drones these days, and a lot of people don't use them. We met an older couple in Tasmania, and they just got a Mavic Pro 2 from their children for Christmas. And it was still in the packet. They never used it. They've got a $2,400 drone, I think it was back then, sitting in this bag doing absolutely nothing. And they said, we're just a bit worried to get it out. We don't really understand it. That is a lot of money just to be sitting in a bag. And you get people and they sort of say, I don't know, I'm a bit scared to use it. I don't really want to, get it out just in case I lose it. What's the point of having it? If you've got this drone and you don't get it out in these situations where you might get a beautiful shot, there is no point having it. It's just like with any gear. If you're not getting it out and using it because you're worried about it, then you've lost the point of the, having all this gear. Get your drone out, fly it, watch some tutorials on YouTube, get to know the settings. You fly a drone enough, you're going to crash it eventually. There's the people who have crashed a drone and people who haven't, if you own one. It's probably going to happen one day. Let's just hope, like me, it wasn't a bad crash. I have crashed this one. Since then, I haven't. Thank God. Just if you've got it, get it out and use it. And if you do lose it, look, at least you've lost doing its thing, its purpose, what it was built to do. So if you've got one of these sitting in the bag, you never use it, just please get rid of it. Sell it on Gumtree. So I suppose we can go on sort of what gear we started off with when we were doing our videos. We actually started on some old Nikons that we had. I had my very, very old D7000, and then Holly had a slightly newer D3400. So we had those, and we had a GoPro Hero 6 that we were vlogging with, had a little mic set up on it. Wasn't great, the footage, it was sort of stabilized, but it was a bit weird, a bit janky. So yeah, we wanted to sort of get a bit more out of our gear. That's why we bought the Sony A6400. And then later on in the trip, we bought this A7 III, which is a full frame camera, incredible camera. And we're really happy with our cameras. We just want to play around with some lenses, get some fresh gear now. But at the end of the day, story is king. You can just have, your phone or a really basic camera, and if the story's good, people aren't going to notice that it's, not the best in low light or something like that. Some people have made some truly incredible films with some very limited gear, so it's amazing what you can do with just, a phone in your pocket. Leads me on to my next point, which I think is a very overlooked point, and that is sound gear. If you're shooting a lot of video, for YouTube or something like that, I'd definitely recommend investing in a good bit of sound gear quickly. Nice little mic like this, Rode Wireless Go, unreal. We've got a little shotgun mic. It's very distracting when you're watching a video and the audio is bad, if it's windy and you can't hear people talking, or if it just sounds tinny, it's no good. Very noticeable. People will comment about it, and they'll tell you. Early on when we were shooting, people would often say that our sound was no good in the videos. So having decent sound gear will really elevate your videos, and getting a bit of sound design in there. So, footsteps and water crashing and the wind and the nature, everything around you, it's definitely very important to sort of get people immersed in the video and feel like they're there, I suppose. So that's a very big point to consider. So probably just to sum up, it's a bit of a ramble, this video. A lot of people sort of ask us, what gear do I get? What camera do I use? Look, if you really want a good entry-level camera, I can definitely recommend a 6000 camera from Sony. So they do, A6000, A6100, A6300, A6400, 6500, and 6600. Generally, the lower the number, the sort of less features it has, and it sort of goes up from there. So, the Sony A6100, very affordable. Kit lens that comes with it would probably be pretty good, but I can definitely recommend getting a prime lens for it, getting a 50, 35, or an 85. You really enjoy using that lens, but yeah, takes great video, takes great photo. So yep, that could be something to consider if you're wanting to go on a trip and get some decent footage. Great to travel with because they're really small and light. If you don't have, or if you've never had an SLR camera, or have really got into photography, I probably wouldn't recommend spending the big bucks on what we have, which is the A7 III. It is a lot of money. So something like this will pretty much do 90% of what the A7 III can do. If you've got your gear, you've got your camera, it's all well and good, but as I said at the start of the video, you really need to consider how you're going to present this stuff. What are you going to do with the photos and videos? So you want to sort of get into a bit of editing, a bit of post-processing. There is so many tutorials on YouTube that will tell you not only how to use the camera, but how to edit, how to get the most out of the gear. So just take the time and watch it. If you've spent all this money on this gear, you really need to sit down, figure it out. I've spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours just sitting down and just watching tutorials, how to use this stuff. And it definitely helps. And it's very satisfying when, you take a photo and you get the shot and you edit it really well and you go, wow, that is a really good shot. Definitely take the time for that. YouTube is an incredible resource for that kind of thing. So also you might be watching this because you sort of want to hear about YouTube and how we're sort of got into it, and why we did it. I probably might leave that for a video unto itself. All I can say is if you're traveling and you're keen to start a YouTube channel, it's a pretty hard slog, just like all creators say. It's a lot of work, but yeah, we enjoy it, very satisfying. I was into photography before I was into four-wheel driving, so it was a very easy transition for me to jump in and start doing videos. And it's something to do on the road. It's something really fun. It's a great hobby to do on the road, photography and videography. Obviously it documents your trip, but yeah, there's only so much sitting around a campfire and staring off into the stars you can do before you kind of get a little bit bored and you want to work on something. So being creative on the road, doing a channel, even if it's just for your family and friends, fantastic. So yeah, but I might leave it to another video. If you do want to hear more about YouTube, how we got into it, and maybe common mistakes starters do and how to, make the most out of it, then comment below and I can do a video on that separately. But thanks for watching. I hope you learnt a few things. Any questions you have, any queries about anything, throw it down in the comments. I'll read them all and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. But cheers for watching. Get out there, take some photos, create some stuff, have some fun, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. So in this video, we ran through some ways I think you can get the most out of your camera gear. But if you're still wondering about the nitty-gritty of camera settings, then today's sponsor Skillshare might be the website for you. Skillshare offers thousands of online classes from professionals in an easy to watch format. Most classes are half an hour or less if you don't have too much time to spare. I've been watching a few classes lately on color grading, and I've been putting it to use in our film icons, which we've been working on a lot recently, and I'm really excited for you guys to see that. The first 1,000 people to click the link in the description below will get a free trial of premium membership, and at around $10 a month after that, it's pretty affordable. So if you're keen to up your camera skills on the road, whether it be for personal use or for YouTube, then Skillshare is definitely worth checking out.